Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. This week we're looking at the miracle of water turned into wine and some of the things it means that we may never have realized before. And today we want to talk about the abundance of the wine in the story. But first, let me remind you that yesterday we ended up saying that Jesus was announcing that God's new age had dawned in him. Well, the abundance of wine is another sign of that too. You may remember yesterday that we talked about the 6 stone jars that were there. What we didn't comment on was that they were indeed large jars holding 20 or 30 gallons apiece. Well, that's an abundance of wine, I think you could say. And in the Old Testament, the abundance of wine is an eschatological sign. Now, that's a big word, but what that means is it was a sign of the arrival of God's new age. An abundance of wine was the sign of the arrival of God's new age. In Amos 9:14, it says, I will restore the fortunes of my people Israel, and they shall rebuild the ruined cities and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and drink their wine, and they shall make gardens and eat their fruit. So notice, in a passage about things being restored to God's way, the sign of that is the drinking of wine. In Joel 3:18, it says, in that day, the mountains shall drip sweet wine, the hills shall flow with milk, and all the stream beds of Judah shall flow with water. And once again, you will note that Joel is talking about what will happen when the day of the Lord comes. And the first sign of that is the mountain dripping sweet wine. The abundance of wine in our miracle story is saying that the day of the Lord has arrived. Jesus is here. God's new age is here. The fulfillment of Old Testament hopes and dreams is here. God's promised gift of salvation is here. And so this miracle calls us to look at what Jesus did as a lot more than a simple party trick. We are invited to see that the one who did the miracle is the salvation poured out in abundance by God. It's a new way of seeing Jesus, and to realize that that salvation is poured out by God on us in abundance. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.